What's up, Classic Buffalo family? It's your boy, RY to the AN. This week, I decided to call up my friend Collin, who I met through Vintage Indie. Solid guy. He has bought a lot of stuff from me, and he's always put out positive vibes. Super nice guy. So, without further ado, this is the library. This is book 2. Let's listen to Collin and I talk about some stuff. It's Collin.
What's up?
What's up, man?
Not much.
Thanks for joining.
Thanks for having me.
You're at college right now, right?
Yep. I go to school at the University of North Carolina, Wilmington. We actually just had a hurricane come this week, and thankfully the town's okay. So I didn't have class all week, had to evacuate, but now we're doing well, and we got lucky.
What? That was it like? What category was it at this point?
When it made landfall, I think it was either a 1 or a 2. It wasn't anything as bad as what was projected, and luckily it kind of just skimmed by us from everything I read. But we got lucky. Obviously, we didn't get as bad as the Bahamas did when it was a Category 5. But yeah, got lucky.
Yeah. Did you go home, or where did you evacuate to?
I actually evacuated to my girlfriend's house. She goes to the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, the one everybody knows.
Yeah.
So I went there and just was with her for the week.
Oh, okay. Is Wilmington kind of like small, or how big is like Wilmington?
It's not a big city by any means. It's I'm trying to compare maybe like a Fort Wayne kind of thing, maybe in Indianapolis, in Indiana kind of thing, maybe. But it's a coastal town. There's the beach area. There's also a nice historic old downtown area, but it's a nice city, and I really enjoy it.
Do you is there enough to do on campus, or is there stuff to do like in Wilmington? Like, is there they have a sports team? I don't know too much about Wilmington.
Yeah,
so I'm asking.
Sports-wise, we don't have football, sadly. So that's something that I had to adjust with. The past. This is my 3rd year here, so freshman year it was kind of like, oh man, no football. This is crazy. but we do have basketball, and I work in the athletic department, so I'm able to have some fun with that. But in terms of on-campus stuff, there's a fair amount to do, but having the beach about 5 minutes away from campus definitely makes for things to do there. And that's where most people do stuff, hang out.
There's so many people that'll be jealous that you basically go to college at a beach.
Yeah. Hey, come to Wilmington, everyone, apply.
Do you do intramurals too, or what do you do in the athletic department?
So in the athletic department, I work for, it's called the Seahawk Club. It's the fundraising arm for the UNCW athletic program. So how we get all of the money for scholarships, I just help raise money for that. And what the Seahawk Club is you sign up, it's like $50 for the year, and you get access to all the men's games. You get to sit in the first 10 rows, just nice little benefits, and raises money. But I do also play intramural sports here. I play intramural beach volleyball, cornhole, and basketball.
Intramural cornhole.
Yeah.
There you go. Is there competitive and C League? Do they have, or is it just cornhole?
It's regular, just basically, 2-on-2 regular cornhole. It's not too competitive. Some people are way better than others, but it's
5-on-5.
Nah, that'd be crazy.
Yeah, blocking stuff. Yeah, that's funny because we have volleyball competitive. I didn't know if that'd be funny if they had competitive cornhole versus not being. But ESPN, they started doing that where
I
they had
saw that.
That's nuts.
It's crazy.
They actually had competitive putt-putt, if you've ever seen that before.
Really?
That's in the 90s. Yeah, Google that. It's on YouTube where, it's this is Chad Greer. He's the 1989 champion. His year-to-date earnings is $50,000. And it's so funny because there's 30 people at a golf course watching these dudes putt for $1,000 or $2,000 a hole.
That's awesome.
And it's on ESPN4 kind of thing, but
that's pretty cool.
It's funny. Yeah. So why did you decide to go? Because I know you're from Indy. Where did you go to high school?
I went to high school at Ron Colley.
Okay.
But I chose Wilmington because my family, every year, my dad's whole side, we vacation in the Outer Banks in North Carolina. And there was a couple year span where we came to the Southern Outer Banks, and we were about 30 minutes from Wilmington. And one of those trips, we saw Wilmington, and my older cousin, who's about 4 years older than me, he ended up going to UNCW. So that's how I first kind of found out about it. And then I checked it out, and I ended up really enjoying it, and it ended up being a good fit.
That's awesome. Is it Is it a small school feel still, or you still feel like, oh, this is just like North Carolina or
Yeah, it's definitely.
Duke or
I think it's
whatever?
a small school feel in terms of student size. It's not. It's bigger than Duke, believe it or not, which is interesting because like everybody knows Duke.
What?
Yeah, but it feels like a really small school because we don't have any roads going through campus. Everything's kind of around it, so like you can't drive through the middle of campus or anything. So it feels really like secluded and kind of like
Uh-huh.
off the beaten path because of that. And I really like that feel because it makes it feel small. But there's about, I think it's about between 12 and 14,000 students that go here.
Mm. Do you run into people a lot? Like, do you know, or is it kind of you can go a whole day without seeing somebody?
Oh, no, I run into people I know all the time. But that could
Okay.
also be because I'm tall that they see me and come up to me. I don't know. You never know.
I
But
was gonna
I
ask
definitely see.
that. How tall are you? Are you like you're over
6'10".
6 foot? But
Yeah.
oh my
6'10".
gosh,
Yeah.
you're a big boy, man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Been big
Holy
since I
cow!
was little.
How
Yeah.
big? Like, when did you know you were gonna be like tall?
From really forever. Like when I was little, I was always really tall, and I was jealous of my older brother. He's 2 years older than me. He went to school every day, and I was really jealous when I was little. And so there weren't any like 5-day week preschools we could find or whatever. So my parents like found another preschool that was for older kids, and they had me go in, and the kids were a year older than me, and the preschool teachers or whatever you call them were like, well, let's let Collin play with these kids for a little bit and let's see how they interact. And if they work out like maturity level wise or whatever it is, then like he can go here. And all the kids were scared of me because I was so much bigger than them and I was a year younger. So I've always been like the tallest guy everywhere I go.
So you played in high school then?
Yeah, I played basketball in high school. Yep.
Wow, man. Were you like good, or you were just like, I'm just a tall guy, but I'm actually just, like how good were you? That's my real question.
I would say I was a step above just the tall guy and a step below good. I had
Okay.
like small schools in Indiana recruiting me and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
nothing big and nothing that I don't know. I personally, I wanted to just go to a different, out of state and get a different experience in college. I didn't want to go to a small school kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was that like going to so at the time when you went, was your cousin going or your is it your brother or your cousin that was
Cousin.
at UNCW?
He was I think he's either 4 or 5 years older than me, so he had graduated at that
Oh,
point.
okay.
Yeah. So I didn't know anybody down here, which was definitely made it like a kind of a stressful move to like figure out what school I was going to, because I knew I was going somewhere where I wouldn't know anybody. But within the first week or so, I'd met a lot of people. I'm pretty outgoing, so it all turned out for the good.
Yeah. How did you? Were there any strategies you had to like meeting people at college?
Man, yeah. Honestly, kind of like the first day when we all moved in, I'd met my roommate, and it was kind of like, all right, I'm gonna go around and try to meet everybody in my dorm, like or in my hall or whatever. Like I want to go meet everybody, and so I did that, and I still lived with my roommate from freshman year, and then a guy who lived next door to us. So turned out good. But I just wanted to meet everyone and kind of see what stuck, like kind of throw all my darts against the wall and see which ones were landed in good spots.
Yeah. Did you do like? Was it through like? How quickly did you get a job on campus? Because I know you said you're working for the athletic department, but like,
Yeah.
did getting a job like your freshman year, sophomore year, like did that help like meet people? Was it doing the intramurals? Was it just through classes? Was it, like you said, just going dorm to dorm basically
Yeah.
through your roommate? What was your strategy?
Yeah, so I would say all of those I kind of did. Intramurals, I've met people. I was on an intramural team with a guy from Connecticut and a girl from Maryland. And I'm still friends with both of them. Then I got my job sophomore year, and I've met some people through that are really cool. They were older than me, so a couple of them have graduated, but we still stay in contact. And then just like through my friends, because my roommates and a lot of people.
How did you meet your girlfriend / did you meet her and then she went to UNC, or did you meet in high school? How did that work?
Yeah, so I met her in high school. She's a junior. She was a junior. I was a sophomore. Our school would do these trips where you could pay and go on these trips or whatever. And they did one to Costa Rica, and I met her there. And we started dating after that, and then we've been dating ever since. She's a senior at Chapel Hill now, and I'm a junior at UNCW.
Dang, look at that.
Yeah.
Man. What's your favorite part about your girlfriend?
That's tough. I like everything.
That's the right answer.
Yeah, I would say probably she's one of the most caring people I've ever met. She drops everything that's on her plate to help others when they're in need. And I really admire that aspect about her.
That's awesome. What would she say about you?
I think she would say I am let's see. I'm trying to think. I think she would say I think one of the things she really likes about me is that I kind of keep things loose, and I kind of I don't get too stressed out about things ever. I kind of just try to like, oh, it's okay, like, you know, kind of come up with strategies to alleviate stress and whatever. So I think she likes that aspect of me where I'm kind of like not a rock or whatever, but I kind of am able to help her de-stress, and I'm also able to keep things like fun and light amidst like bad situations.
Right. I had a question, then I lost it. That have you always been like that, kind of where the rock or the foundation, or always where people could okay, do people come to you for support often, or like do you find yourself in a lot of Dr. Phil situations?
I do sometimes. My friends will ask me questions and ask for my opinion on things, which I like. And then even my family, like when I chose to go to school far away, I had like aunts and uncles who would say stuff like, you know, your family's gonna like, they're gonna miss you. They really, you know, they use you as a rock, and you know they're gonna miss having you around at home and stuff to help with you know whatever arises. But so yeah, I would say I've had that for a while. I've had that kind of persona or whatever.
Yeah, that's interesting. So my mom used to be like that. She just would, that became her nickname, was just Dr. Phil, because so many people came to her for support, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just interesting to see how socially there are just certain people that like a lot of people go, oh, I can trust this person, and then next thing you know, everybody's just going to them for advice, for support all the time, and it can get like tiring, you know.
Yeah.
Because you're always having to be on, you're always having to be there for other people. And then when you go through stuff, it's like, okay, well, who's my Dr. Phil? Who's my, you know?
Yeah, I definitely know that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like your own problems and issues kind of thrown to the wayside so you can help other people.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, that's great. I mean, it's not great, but yeah, it's an interesting understanding of that.
Yeah.
What's your major?
My major is marketing, specifically marketing strategy, and then I'm minoring in digital arts, so like graphic design, basically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What made you want to get into those?
So marketing was I didn't know what I wanted to do for a while. Like throughout applying to college and stuff, I wanted to go to a school where there were like lots of options for studies. But I kind of figured out marketing because I've had a passion for shoes since I was in like 7th grade. I've bought and sold shoes. I'd buy them myself, and then I'd like turn around and flip them and try to make money on them. And then I started collecting shoes, and I always would just like love the marketing campaigns Nike would do for certain shoes. It'd make me want to buy them, and then I know other people would want to buy them. It made me want to. So I kind of got really interested in the way they marketed certain stuff, and so that got me interested in that. And I'm kind of weird. I like commercials. I think I like to like analyze commercials sometimes when they come on, like the funny ones or whatever, like, oh, that was clever, just stuff like that. I think commercials are interesting. Then digital arts was kind of like I liked art. I'm not very good at it, but I enjoy art. So I just wanted to tack on a digital arts minor. And be able to do
what do you actually do in that? Is there any video editing, or is mostly it's like graphic design?
It's mostly graphic design so far. I don't think there's any video editing yet. At least I haven't done any. There might be some later in my like the courses I have to take. I'm not 100% sure on that.
So on the commercial, I have questions regarding like, is there a recent commercial that you're like, oh, that's genius? Maybe like, I'm sure you like dig deep into the Super Bowl commercials.
Oh, I do love Super Bowl commercials. There was one actually. I was watching college football before you called. I was watching the Army Michigan game that actually went to overtime earlier. And they had that. It's a new, I think it's AT&T and Spotify, and it's this commercial where it's a boy band on stage singing, and none of them are moving, and they're singing their song. And then there's like this dad with his little girl in the crowd, and the dad's like, "Are we supposed to dance?" And it's just, I don't know. The commercial, they're like, they say something like, "The boy bands without the dancing just aren't the same," or whatever. And I don't know. I think it's pretty funny. I may not have explained it very well. I know it's an audio medium, but hey.
No, it's okay. I'll have to Google it.
It's pretty good.
Super Bowl commercial. Is there one that you're like, oh, that was a really good one? Or historically, not even this past year?
This past year, I liked. It was by a seltzer company called Bubbly. They had Michael Bublé come on, and he was like showing off the drink to a customer in a store. And they're like, Michael Bublé, and he goes, try this drink, Bubbly, and they're like, Bublé? He's like, no, Bubbly, and they just kind of went back and forth. And I don't know, wasn't necessarily like the most genius idea, but for a new company to spend their budget on a Super Bowl commercial and have something that you have someone famous like Michael Bublé, it's kind of, I don't know, kind of just stuck in my head since then. Made me buy a pack of Bubbly, so they got my $3.
That's so underrated. It's so underrated marketing through commercials. Where even if, like, for example, like I think it's J.G. Wentworth or something like that on the radio, or it's J.G. Wentworth something. So it's like I may not even just there's Chapman. There's that guy who's like Chapman, the heating and cooling or something like that. Yeah. It's like I may never have a house, but if I ever do and need anything with heating and cooling, he's the only dude I've ever heard.
Yeah. So he sticks in
your
mind.
So I'm probably going to Google him first.
Exactly. Yeah. So you're like, it's just kind of in the back of your mind. So when you think of it, you may not know anything about him. You're like, well, I think he's good. He may not be, but hey, you remember it.
What are your thoughts on radio advertising with like, do you think it's effective / like, do you think I just think it's so interesting how you have to change the medium from which you market.
Yeah.
For, visual, audio, image, written.
Yeah. Some of them are good. But then there's some of them that I don't know, like, I don't mean to kind of trash some local Indianapolis businesses, but the Hare Chevrolet Sisters of Saving, those two women, their voice it bothers me a fair amount. Yeah. I think they should work on maybe switching theirs, but some of the other ones are pretty good. I don't know. I'm a big podcast listener and plug my phone in, play music on that. So I don't listen to too many radio advertisements, but some of the ones I do hear are pretty good.
Yeah, that's good. Man, yeah, that's really cool. What is there one of all time where you're like, that is by far the best one I've ever seen?
All time. I don't know. That's tough. I don't know if I can come up with one off the top of my head.
That's all right.
I don't know if I can think of one.
I always thought the Dorito ones were like people end up doing really weird stuff, like to get the Doritos or something. I don't know. Doritos, I feel like does a good job, and then Old Spice, like the black guy.
Yeah,
that's one of my favorite. Or like Terry Crews.
Yeah, those were good. I like those too. Yeah, those were definitely good.
The Old Spice.
Yeah.
So definitely. Kind of back up a little bit.
Okay.
With like growing up.
Okay.
Did you have like so were you born in Indy? Because I know you went to high school.
Yep.
So like let's start like
yeah.
You were born. Was it like? Do you already have a big family? Are you the youngest, oldest, that kind of stuff?
So I was born in Indianapolis. Lived there forever. That's why I wanted to come to school out of state, just to kind of try something different. I'm the middle child. I have a brother who's 2 years older than me. His name's Nathan. And I have a little sister who's a senior in high school this year. Her name's Emily.
Okay. So do you have a big family like outside of that? Like, so you said your dad's family is in North Carolina, but where's your mom's family?
My dad's family also, they live in Indiana, but we vacation in North Carolina every year.
Oh.
Yeah. But my dad's side, not too big. I think there's 16 of us in total. So that's 3 families, and then my grandparents included in that. So 3 families, my grandparents, 16 of us. And then my mom's side, my mom comes from a big family. She's the youngest of 7 kids. So that side is just massive. I don't even know how many of us there are there. But there's a lot of people in that family. And
did you guys like have enough where you have like a reunion T-shirt?
No, nothing. No, we don't do that. That side, I guess it's big, but it's still small enough to where like we get together, everybody gets together at the same house for like Thanksgiving and Christmas and Easter. So it's not too big, but it's large.
Hold on.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
So yeah, it's big, but not too large. Like I said, we get together at the same house for like Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Would you say like your relation, like who are you closest with in your family? I would say.
In my immediate family, I would say it's a tie between my mom and my dad, because my dad and I, we share a lot of the same interests in terms of like sports and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
he's someone that I talk to like daily about sports stuff, like the Antonio Brown stuff. We were texting back and forth about that.
Right.
And then like my mom, she and I are really close, just like on like, I don't know, just like mom stuff. Like she's like, oh, what are you making for dinner tonight? You talk about stuff like that. Like, I don't know, just like my mom and I are close. Then my dad and I are close too. I would say it's a tie between the both of them for their own reasons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. It's kind of like the old, just like, well, who do you look more like? It's like your mom or your dad. We're like, well, or like, who are you more like? It's like, well, you just have different aspects of both. It's kind of equal. That's how genes work, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So in your experience with sports, what was something that was there something that was like really challenging mentally, really hard to go through, whether it was just a workout and you're like, all right, like for example, like in football, like 2-a-days are really hard. And like, you have to mentally go to another place sometimes, like kind of talk about a hard moment, injury, whatever you want, kind of take something with that.
So the hardest thing for me throughout like playing sports was, it was the spring of my 8th grade year, right before I was going into high school, and I was playing for a tribal basketball team for Roncalli High School. It was kind of like a developmental league, if you will, or whatever, where like kids that were going to be going to Roncalli could play on the same team and play like random AAU teams or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those games, I was going up for a shot and I got fouled and fell on my back. I didn't think anything of it at the time. Looked bad, so he subbed me out, and I thought I was fine. We had a double header, so he was like, just rest up, like we got a game in 20 minutes, like just whatever, just sit on the bench and get ready for the next game. But when I went to stand up for the next game, I wasn't able to straighten out my back, and so I was like, oh, this is really weird. But I still tried to play in that next game, and I ended up having to be pulled out like 2 minutes into it because I just couldn't play. And long story short, there, it took about another month of me just being in pain to finally be like, all right, I need to get this looked at. I had fractured. They said I had a stress fracture in my spine at the L1S1 or L5S1 vertebrae, which is like the very bottom one right above the tailbone.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was told it would be 3 months in a back brace and then I'd be fine. And I was like, okay, like whatever, like 3 months out of sports, like it'll be okay. It's April. Well, the end of 3 months came and they did another MRI. Wasn't better. So then it was, okay, another 3 months in the back brace. Okay, hopefully this works. Again, same thing, didn't heal at all. So then at this point, I'm 6 months into this injury. It still hurts as much as it did day one. And the doctor says, well, there's nothing we can do at this point. Like, you'll just have to play again with it. And I was like, oh, okay. So I played, and a week into this injury, it was basketball. It was my freshman year of high school. I had just made the JV, half varsity kind of thing for my freshman year. I was going to split time on both, get some experience. And I set a screen on a senior football player, and he ran through my screen very hard. And I fell down, got up, and I was like, oh my gosh, this hurts way worse now. Boy. So I went to a different doctor a couple days later. Turns out I had, you know how like a spine kind of has like the little wings on each side, like the little things popping off on each side. I'd broken both of those off on that hit. And then the vertebrae then slipped out of place. So that doctor was like, we're going to have to do a spinal fusion, which I was like, oh, wow. And so I'm 15 years old, and he's like, yeah, we're going to do a spinal fusion on you at 15. And he was hesitant because spinal fusions usually don't happen to people until they're, 75 or whatever. Whoa. My grandpa had one days before I was told I needed one. So it was kind of fun in that respect. But so I ended up having the spinal fusion then about a week after. And I had to use a walker for about a month and a half. So that was interesting, being a freshman in high school using a walker. And it ended up being close to 18 months of recovery for that. And in the middle of there, I had found a mass on my arm that was a massive overgrowth of bone. And that required immediate surgery to see if it was cancerous or not. Thankfully, it wasn't. But just an injury like that in the middle of it was really kind of stressful as well when you find this growth that's bigger than a softball in your arm. It's just all sorts of, it was just a really bad time with injuries and stuff. And it was, I don't know, it was definitely the toughest mental obstacle I've had to deal with in my life, I think.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, dude. So where are you at now with that? Do you just you can't
now, So the only real lasting things from it, I wasn't allowed to play football in high school, which really stunk because I love football and I'm tall and I'm big, so
Right.
it would have been fun to play in high school. But so I couldn't play football, and then also with like weightlifting, I can't do like any weight above my head. So like doing squats where you have to like put the rack like on your shoulders, and go down. Can't do that because they're worried that then the fusion would break, and then there could be really serious issues. But like now, every day, there really isn't anything too bad from it. It'll be stiff every once in a while, and I'll just have to like stretch a little bit or like crack my back, and then it's fine. But really, there's nothing lasting from that. So,
wow,
I got lucky. But they say I might need a fusion in 10 years or whatever. But we'll see. So far, it's held up pretty well.
Man, how did you like when you're in the middle? Like where were you at mentally? Like, are you like, dude, were there tearful moments? Is there like, dude, how am I going to get through this? Like,
yeah. So at Roncalli High School, when you're a freshman, you take PE, and so I like had PE freshman year, but I like wasn't able to do anything because I had a spinal fusion. And I think it was like the day after I found out I was going to have a fusion, I was in PE, just kind of like we were walking to do whatever. I think we were playing like baseball or something. I wasn't going to play. I was just going to watch or whatever. And we were walking there, and I kind of just had like some tears in my eye or whatever. I looked upset, and the teacher, who I'm still close with, he was just like, "Hey, are you okay? Like, I know you've had some terrible news. Like, if you need anyone to talk to, let me know." So I had someone like that reach out, and it ended up being okay. But just having someone there just to offer that really means a lot. And there definitely were times where it was tearful and just like, oh my gosh, is this ever going to stop? Like, is it ever going to heal? Like, whatever. So definitely tough.
How did you get out of, like, did that last very long? That's my first question. And two, if it did, you get out? Because it sounds like somebody reaching out was kind of helpful. Yeah. Even if it was
someone reaching out was
momentary kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So someone reaching out was great. And my friends and my family were really good about, trying to keep my spirits high. And I'm also a big believer in like, if you want to be happy, you just like wake up and tell yourself you're going to be happy today. And like, I know that's easier said than done. And for some people that may not work, but like for me, it's just like, I don't know, if you wake up and like, oh, today's going to stink. Like, I don't know. I really strive to make each day good and just like, oh, I'm going to do these things today. And like something bad comes up. It's like, oh, whatever. Like I still have these good things to look forward to or something like that. I just kind of worked on like, if I want to be happy, then I need to try to be happy kind of mindset, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, you're really good at mindfulness of saying like, all right, so what are the 3 things I can be grateful for today kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, it sounds like you're really good at that. With what do you think has been, so and you don't necessarily have to share any other, bad moments unless you want to give more examples, but just kind of like, how do you think, or let's phrase it this way, in what ways were your friends or family that you're like, oh, they did a good job at XYZ, whether follow up, like, hey, let's hang out. Like, were they good at, like, they always wanted to check in. They were always checking in, always texting me, or they were like, hey, let's hang out, words of encouragement. What do you think was one of the best things that those types of people did for you?
I think I have about 3. So like one was like all the guys on the basketball team, like I still felt included, even though I was never practicing with them or anything. So I didn't have like that connection with them very much, but like, I don't know, we'd hang out after games and go out to eat or go over to people's houses. And I was always invited and always included and things like that. And that really made me feel, good and everything. And they were always checking in, making sure I was, not in pain or whatever. And then, like my family was really good about like just helping take care of me. Like, oh, it's going to be like, you're fine. Like, you got this. Like, this is nothing, it's freshman year. Like, you'll be fine after this, like all that. They were really great about that. And then the teachers at Roncalli were just really good to me as well. Especially, I found out I was going to have the surgery, like when finals week, we're going to start freshman year. So I was going to like miss all my finals. So every teacher was like extremely accommodating. There was one that came in on a Saturday morning and gave me 3 of my classes exams. And she like sat there on a Saturday when she didn't have to come in, and she was really great. So that was something I was really thankful for, that someone was able to give up, one of her off days to come, proctor 3 exams for me. Like that was something I'm still really grateful for.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What if let's say I'm in a pretty shitty situation. Like I've either got relationship issues, or school's really hard, or I just feel like I can't make friends, work's really hard. It's just something I've got a problem. And I come to you, like, what's like do you have like a go-to phrase that you like? You're like, hey, look, yeah, like, do you have a go-to phrase, a motto? Do you have, like, what are the first things you kind of go for to help those people?
So I have a couple things. So like whenever, like, I always say, like, look for the silver lining, which is like a cliche or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But so like someone comes to me with something really bad, it's like, you know, you talk them through it, you go like, hey, the silver lining here is like you have an opportunity for this now or something. Like, so that's something I always try to do, is I try to find some sort of positive or like hidden, you know, lesson or something they've learned through this. I like doing that to kind of help, like, kind of start to get their mindset in a more positive way. And then the other thing is, like I said, like, if you want this to get better, if you want to be, like, if you want to be happy, like, wake up and like tell yourself, today I'm gonna have a good day. Like, I have all the, like, I'm gonna have a good day today, and just kind of tell yourself that, those sorts of things. And it works better for some than others, but
right. Yeah, I've done that. Like, I repeated, I was like, I'm loved, I'm valued, I'm accepted, I'm loved. And like, I did like 4 times. I went into the interview and I was just like, I'm qualified. Like, I did something like that, saying it out loud in the parking lot, a little awkwardly, but I did a little quiet. But like, I nailed the interview because I was able, because I'm so nervous, but then
boosted your confidence.
You
got yourself ready.
It's just kind of like, okay, this is the reality. Or I don't know, there's something about putting it out in the universe or putting it out in your mind, or like, okay, I can do this.
I agree.
You're convincing yourself.
I agree 100%.
I think there's something to that. But it also takes practice. Like, I think you're in the later stages of it, because I think you're really good at it, the mindfulness and then the positive reaffirming of, I think you've gotten really good at it whenever you started, you know, in your life. But it sounds like you're really good at that, which is awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. First one's free. So I'm just joking. Yeah. What's your opinion? I wanted to ask you about Colin Kaepernick, actually.
Okay.
Because, you know, being associated with Nike, what are your thoughts on one person representing a brand and having such pull over brand making decisions, and kind of what your thoughts are on that?
See, I think that with what he's done has been really good in some respects. Like when the Betsy Ross shoe was coming out this summer, and he was like, hey, this is a symbol of white supremacy or whatever it was. I'm not 100% sure of what exactly that symbol was for, but the fact that he was able to like alert Nike, like, hey, like this is not good. You guys don't want this on your shoes, and they could pull the release and not have it happen. I think that was something that's like really good. And, you know, I know a lot of people were upset about that, that why can this one guy say this is bad and they take it off the shelves? Well, to me, it's like, well, why does it matter if it was one guy, if it was what he said it was? Like, and it is. So to me, that's something where it's like, well, if nobody in Nike's creation team was able to realize, like, oh, we probably shouldn't put this racist symbol, or a symbol that's seen as racist by some people, whatever you want to call it, then we probably shouldn't have this on a shoe that we're going to release. Right. So I think what he's done has been really, I mean, his initial stuff with kneeling, I know it was misconstrued, but his initial thing was he wanted to bring awareness to police brutality. Right. Some people took it as he was against military. That wasn't his goal. And he, you know, has tried to explain that. So I think all of that was just totally misconstrued by people. But.
Right. Somebody was saying, like, I think it was probably like on the Brilliant Idiots podcast, which is a solid podcast, but they were talking about the narrative that you want. You're going to fill in all the details. Like, it's whatever you can make the narrative whatever you want, and then kind of fit. So if you want something to be true, it can be true. So like, if you want to paint him as this, you know, Malcolm X or Martin Luther King Jr., you can choose between the two. You can choose between an activist or like somebody who's, and not that Malcolm X was going for all violence, but do you know what I'm trying to say? Is this guy trying to just be the most peaceful person and really wants to stand up for people, or is he like, he's a complainer, he hates the military, you know, it's like you can form the narrative based on your own political beliefs, based on whatever. I thought it was interesting because of if it would have been a Confederate flag, I mean, pull that in 10 seconds, please, or less. But I just was confused why he had so much pull over the decision, almost as if he was a part of the what's it called? Like head,
or whatever. And I don't think he did in that sense. I think it was more of he alerted an issue to them, if that makes sense. Like he kind of noticed it, was like, hey guys, like heads up, this is a problem. You know, I think that was more what it was. But
I think it's smart. Like Nike's just been doing interesting things especially with Zion. You know, now that and for those who don't know, like Zion tore his ankle basically in a Nike shoe, and the Nike's like, okay, we're gonna make it up to you so you don't go to Adidas or Puma or Under Armour.
Yeah.
Do you remember
Yeah,
how
they
much
built a crazy nice shoe for him.
Do
Yeah.
you remember how
They
much
did all
the
sorts of stuff.
million it was? Like what the deal was?
I don't remember.
Okay.
Oh gosh, I don't remember how much it was, but it was a ton.
Like the Braun levels,
Hard
basically.
to really kind of cater to his needs while he was in college, so that when he got out, he's like, "Hey, these people really are here to help me." So, oh, that was great. I'll be buying whatever shoe he has come out.
Same. Yeah, you're really into shoes.
Yeah.
Do you have like a favorite sneaker of all time?
Yeah, I do. My favorite sneaker of all time is probably the Jordan 1.
Okay, so like your OG shoe.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I saw that online they go for $15,000.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. I don't have any pairs from 80, 85, so don't have any original pairs, but
yeah, I was gonna just jokingly say that like I'm trying to figure out what to ask for my birthday, but at the same time, it's like, okay, I can't ask for $15,000 shoes. So
yeah, that'd be a little tough.
I just got the Pharrell Human Races, the ones that say like empathy and gratitude on them.
Yeah, I saw those. I saw you got
man,
those.
I love those.
The crazy boost you wear, I believe is what they're called, model, and they have the black with the green, yellow, blue, red. Yeah, those are nice. I like those a lot.
Do you kind of know what you're going to do, like, or want to try to do when you leave college?
To do what I want to do, my dream would be to work, like do marketing for Nike. Obviously, that's a long shot. You know, it's Nike. It's kind of everybody's Super Bowl in terms of like athletic wear. But that would be a dream of mine. Would be to work for them. And if not them, I'd also love to do like if I'm really struggling between like if I want to do the apparel side like Nike, or if I'd want to do like marketing with a sports team, like kind of like do like work for the Colts or something like that. That'd be really neat as well. But I think you know, if I had to pick right now, I'd probably pick like doing like something for, if I could, for Nike. That would be awesome. But obviously, it's a dream.
Yeah. Speaking of the Colts, and this is somewhat mental related, I guess. So Andrew Luck, he retiring kind of mid game, but the Colts organization sort of knew a little bit before. He goes to leave. He's been like booed out of the stadium. Like people, I don't know if is there any burning of his jersey? I'm sure somebody's done it, but for the most part,
I'm sure they have. I haven't seen it, thankfully, but yeah, that was really tough to hear that, you know, you had someone that loved football so much and always would talk. He always seemed like a kid in the candy shop when he was talking about football, and seeing someone like that kind of lose their love because of injuries, and you know, his mental health was in jeopardy because of it, that he had to retire. Like that's really that's tough, you know, because you don't think about athletes like that. You kind of think that they're like superheroes, but you know, they're just like everybody else. They all have struggles in their own ways, you know.
Right. Yeah, I was curious if you would have done the same thing.
Oh wow, that I don't know. There's a lot of money he could have still made, but he's also got a lot of money. I feel like I probably would have done the same thing, because he's made a lot and he's got a wife, and I think his wife's expecting, so I think they're having a child soon. So I don't know, when you have a lot of money and you have a new wife and a kid coming, I could definitely see where you're like, and playing football every day and getting beaten up isn't great. I could just be, you know, with my family all the time. That'd be tough to pass up.
Is he 30, like, or 31 or something?
I think he's 29. I think he turns 30 this month, actually. I think he turns 30 here in a week or so.
Well, really, I mean, if I was him, I leave now. I come back if I want, because it's not. I mean, if he's talented, like if he's healthy, like in a year from now or whatever, he's taking a break. He doesn't have to worry about watching film anymore. He doesn't have to. He just like completely focuses on that, and then he can always come back if he still can play.
Yeah.
I mean, Tom Brady's like what, like 40 something? Yeah. So he can always come back.
That's what I was kind of thinking. I think that's a possibility, because it seemed to me that his retiring seemed more like a mental issue, like that his mental health was, you know, so it just wasn't in the right place right now. So if he can get his mental health back, you know, to where it was, like, you know, he can heal in that way, then I could definitely see him coming back in the future.
I just think that's so smart, that you're just smart enough to know, like, mentally, I can't take it. I gotta back out right now.
Yeah.
Take care of me.
And it's brave. I mean, you don't see guys doing that much, especially franchise quarterbacks. Like, you know, I think that was really, really I don't know. I thought that was a really smart move by him, and really, I won't say proud because I'm like I should be proud of him, but yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah. Would you not would you Space Jam too?
Oh yeah,
Are you pumped?
I am. I like LeBron. I think LeBron's pretty special. I think he's one of the greatest players of all time. I'm excited for it. The first movie's a classic. I hope the second one is, at least it's good. I hope it's good. We'll see if LeBron can act.
Right. That's a good point.
Should be interesting.
Well, they have a bunch of like other people that are like Anthony Davis is going to be in it, I think, right?
Yeah, and Damian Lillard. I want to say Klay Thompson, and there's a WNBA player or two. I don't remember exactly which WNBA players, but I think they, which I thought that was pretty cool too, to kind of reach a broader audience.
Gosh, it's so nuts. LeBron's really trying to be the greatest of all time.
He is.
You have to get a Space Jam movie.
Yeah.
So you don't think he's the greatest of all time? You think Jordan?
Oh, this might be the toughest question you asked me today. I would say LeBron is. I didn't get to see Jordan play. I'm 20, so
yeah.
I was born in 98. That was when Jordan won his last championship.
Yeah.
Or not, maybe it went out the last. I don't know. Maybe the last. I think it was his last. But I think LeBron's the greatest. I think that he's a physical specimen. Never really had a serious injury except for the one. I think that's really impressive. I think his ability to be able to guard almost every position 1 through 5 effectively is really good. And just how he gets teammates involved. I think LeBron is. I think you can put him at any time period and he would absolutely dominate.
Right. I feel like people said Kobe at some point, and I was like, he doesn't make anybody else play better. That's one of the most like the best qualities of. I mean, not that LeBron does necessarily either, but he's dominant at almost every position.
Yeah, and I agree with that. Like, Kobe's like one of the greatest competitors of all time, but I don't know if he's like the greatest player of all time.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point, man. Man, I dropped my list and it went out of the couch, so I can't think of. I had a list of. Oh, here we go. Marvel movies. Are you into Marvel at all? /DC.
I've never seen any superhero movies, believe it or not.
Whoa.
Yeah, I've never seen a single one. And one of my roommates is huge into them, loves them. I've still never seen any. And he's been meaning to kind of get me started. I don't know which one he was going to show me first, but I think it was what's it called? What's Deadpool? I think Deadpool. He said that one's like not really too crazy, like superhero. It's like a comedy kind of thing.
Yeah.
He thought that'd be a good one to like, kind of get my feet wet in the superhero movies.
Yeah, it's a good starter. I got to see Deadpool too. I really like Deadpool 1, but Ryan Reynolds just does a good job. He's been killing it recently.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, you got to get into it. A lot of people, it's culturally relevant. You got to stay on top of things if you want to do marketing.
I know. I need to. You're preaching to the choir. You are right with that one.
All right. So you obviously like sneakers.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to ask you about the community of the sneaker culture. And have you dabbled in the community or kind of stood from afar and admired? Like, what's your involvement with the culture?
I wouldn't say I'm like, huge into the culture or whatever. Like, I've made a lot of friends through buying and selling shoes. So I would say in that sense, I'm in it. I follow a ton of Instagram pages that talk about release dates and have, opinion blogs or whatever about shoes, read all that. But I would say like big into it. Like, I'm not one that's like, I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm crazy into it, but I would definitely call myself like a shoe fanatic. I mean, I'm buying shoes like all the time, selling shoes all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I cut down on 150 pairs over the summer down to 35.
Oh, wow. That's a lot.
Yeah. So I was kind of purging because I was like, this is too much. So really trying to selectively choose stuff.
Do you wear them all?
I do. Yes, I do. So that's one thing I do as I'll get them and I get so excited about them when they're coming in that I'll like figure out like what I think would look good with them and I'll wear them like the day they come in.
Man, that's nuts. Yeah, because some people will just like not touch their shoes. They just put them like up in a glass case, And
I definitely have pairs that I wear less than others, like depending on how much, I spend on them or whatever. It's like, oh, I can't wear these. Like, I can't wear, I don't know, can't wear off whites every day or something like that. Like,
Right.
Be selective.
Right. Man. Is there something that you don't own that you were like, if I could own that? Like I'm thinking of the Marty McFly Back to the Future shoes.
Oh yeah.
The ones that zip up, cool. Those would be cool.
Yeah, those are cool. Oh man. If I could own one thing I don't have, I would say right now it would be Jordan 1 Chicago, just like the original colorway. I just read actually today that they're re-releasing in 2020 All-Star Weekend, so about mid-February. So that right now is what I'm really excited for. But like other shoes in the past, like the UN Off-White, that was one that I was like, I'm buying that. It's going to happen. Like my girlfriend goes to Chapel Hill, I go up there, go to their basketball games. Like I need to have this shoe. Off-White's awesome. So I have that, and like the Travis Scott Jordan 1s, highs and lows, those are two that I was like, I need those, and I got them. So got a lot of my like not all-time favorites, but I got a lot of shoes that I really like.
In the same vein, like with fashion, do you think is fashion an expression of your personality, or do you not really see it as that deep? Do you just think like, oh, it's kind of cool, or is it just like, oh, this is me actually, like my fashion? Some people are just passionate, some aren't,
Yeah, I definitely think it's an expression of who you are. I personally do. I'm always wearing like basically everything I own is like college, NFL, MLB, NBA, anything sports related. That's basically all the clothes I own. So every day I'll be wearing like different teams or whatever, and some of them are because like really cool old logos, like I don't know, like that Houston Oilers shirt you just posted. Wish I could have bought that in time. Like that's a classic shirt. I don't like at all, but that old Oilers shirt was awesome. So stuff like that, and then like just current stuff too. Really, just I think fashion's really cool. I wear a 2XL shirt, so the options for me are somewhat limited.
It's both very limited, and also it's like a tough, tricky, because sometimes people just sits there for me when I sell stuff, because it's unless it's basically like, unless you like it, I might not get it, because I'll just text you a picture of it, or because I just have very few people.
Like that Super Bowl, that Super Bowl T-shirt that you got me. That one is,
yeah. So either do that, or like it's like almost like I have to, because people are in your position where like, there's not a lot out there, so I kind of have to take, so it's one of those, I have to have a conversation with myself and then text my 2XL people and see if they like it or not. But, what do you think the state of, what has been your experience with anxiety or depression, either personally or with other people in your, whether friends, family, just people that you've experienced with? Has it been limited? Has it been like you had pretty deep in dabbling in it?
I would say I don't have pretty deep. I would say I have like a good amount of dabbling. I've had like close friends that have dealt with like depression and stuff, and you just have to kind of, if you get to know people, I think if you get to know them well enough, when they're struggling, even if they're good at putting on a mask. Like, I'm not gonna like say names or whatever, but like one of my closest friends struggles with depression, and I know when this person's feeling like when they're really struggling. I can tell even when they put on a mask and they really try to not let anybody know. But I don't know. I don't know how I'm able to tell, but I just can. I'm able to kind of pull them aside or whatever, or, give the person a call and make sure that they're okay, and just checking in. Me personally, I've been blessed. I haven't had struggles like that, thankfully. Hopefully I don't in the future. But if I do, I definitely think I have a base of people that will help me. But
it does. We'll end on a positive thought / positive thing of a takeaway that you got one thing to say to somebody to encourage them. Boom.
I would say you can do it. Don't think of yourself as less than. You have the tools capable to do whatever you want. And like I've been saying, kind of speak it into existence. Tell yourself you can. If you want to get that job, like you said, tell yourself you're going to get that job. Tell yourself you have the qualifications. If you want to be happy, tell yourself you're happy, and then slowly but surely you put that into the universe, it'll happen, I think. So I would say just speak it into existence and be confident, and things will turn out your way.
All right, man. You did a good job. You killed it.
Thank you very much. It was awesome.
All right.
It's awesome being on.
All right, man. Thank you so much for calling in and talking with me, man.
Hey, thank you for having me. It means a lot. I'm excited to listen to some more classic Buffalo content.
Sweet. All right, man. Have a good day.
I'll see you. See you, man.
Hey everybody, this is Ryan from the Classic Buffalo Podcast. Wanted to take a second to talk about Anchor, how I'm actually making this podcast happen. Super happy that I'm partnering with them. So, Anchor is actually the easiest way to make a podcast. I've done my research. This is basically the best way. I promise. It's going to give you everything you need in one place for free, which is the best part. It's going to have tools, so you don't really need a fancy schmancy recording guy. Anchor's going to be helping you out there, and then they're going to distribute the podcast everywhere to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, everything. And then you can also make money with basically no minimum listenership, which is kind of rare. So hop on Anchor as soon as you can. Thanks. So we just got done recording with Collin. That was the first time I was talking with him. He's been like messaging me and stuff over Instagram. I've sold him a couple of pieces. He just seems like a really solid kid. So super happy that I got to talk with him finally, even at a vintage level, but just kind of to hear about his story. Like the fusion stuff was nuts. Like I can't imagine having to deal with that when that's something some people don't even deal with until like they're 75. That's nuts. I also really wanted to point out the fact that he was so easily able to practice, like, I wouldn't say meditation, but mindfulness, that's the word. So practicing mindfulness is so important because that's a really big way that people make progress. It's a big way where if you have these negative thoughts and stuff, the only way for you to make progress is if you are able to create that road and realize you're going down the wrong road, honestly. And I can tell that he's had a lot of practice / just maybe good genes or just started young, but I'm distracted. There's like somebody playing so much loud music outside. It's really distracting. But anyway, my point is that Collin's an awesome kid. He's done a lot of things and has such a positive outlook, and that his point of speaking it into an existence is kind of true. The fake it till you make it, there's a half of the school of a thought, that it doesn't work. The other half is that it's kind of true because it's more mindfulness and recentering, because you can get lost in anxiety, you can get lost in your thoughts. And so by saying a mantra of something like that, I'm going to have a good day, and then next thing you know, you actually have a good day, or it plays into the fulfilling of the prophecy, which is kind of one of those mental health voodoo words of sorts. And I think he just did a really good job of that. So that would be kind of one of my takeaways, is taking that, speaking it into an existence, which is probably why we're going to name it the title of this. But props to him. He's doing really well, and I'm pumped. I'm pumped for the kid. I really am. So, which I can call him kid, right? I'm about to be 26 and he's 20. That works. But as far as Classic Buffalo goes, I actually posted my first episode a couple days ago. Gracie from the first episode told me somebody's really enjoying it, so shout out to that person. I know you're probably listening again. All of the positive feedback that I've gotten for doing this is so awesome. I'm doing this with a good intention, good in heart, to share stories of people who've had success, people who have struggled in different areas, basically going in blind, because I have no idea if it's going to be drug abuse or, they've just fought really hard and they've been successful. And, I don't know if it's going to be sunshine and rainbows or rainy days and all that kind of stuff. So I'm on the journey with you, listener. And I've already gotten a couple people reach out to me saying they want to share their story. So if you want to do that, please DM me. I'm more than willing to set up a phone call. This was like the first one that we did via Anchor's phone call app. So that's why I was kind of worried about, because I didn't know if that would work or not. It did okay. We had some stuff I had to edit out because it was so like crappy quality. But other than that, it was a success because he's in North Carolina and I'm in Indy. So super happy with that. And I'm also partnering with my other company, Vintage Indy, where some portion of my profits for this month are going to be going towards Classic Buffalo. And then anybody who's shared their story, I'm going to get them stickers. So we're going to print stickers and shirts and just give them out for free. So that's where I'm partnering with myself, if you will. It's weird, but it's going to work. So posting it on Vintage Indy, it's kind of scary. You know, it's kind of like, hey, there's this thing that I'm really passionate about. And, you know, the plan is maybe someday to combine the two. But right now it's just, as of today, I'm going to partner and kind of utilize my reach to meet some people and to shout them out and share their story. So it's been a lot of fun so far. Scary because it's like it's your dreams at stake, sort of. I mean, I don't have to monetize this necessarily yet, but in the future, maybe it would be nice because I'd love to do this full time. So for right now, we're just sharing people's stories and making change one person at a time. So until next time, it's been me, Ryan, and I love you and you're awesome. I'm glad you're alive. I'm glad you're listening to this. And we'll be back again to talk on the phone with somebody else. All right. Thanks, guys.